It finally makes sense how the rich just gets richer and how all these companies like Facebook and Google, they just keep growing exponentially. It finally makes sense. It's thanks to the economy of scales, and that's exactly what we'll be talking about in today's video, because this concept has been a major light bulb for me growing my business. I'm like, wow, things finally make sense. Production becomes more efficient as the number of goods produced increases. For example, in my program, the rate of student success increases when more students succeed. First thing first, scaling price down. Companies that achieve economy of scales lower the average cost of their products by increasing production. Sounds very ironic, but this is why the rich get richer, because they utilize very unconventional things. And I'll explain to you how this makes sense. Let's say one customer service rep cost me $1,000, ClickFunnels cost me $100, my time cost me $5,000, my total expense is $6,100. At 10 students, each student needs to pay more than $610 to be profitable. Whereas at 100 students, each student only needs to pay more than $61 to be profitable. See how the cost is spread across as you scale and increase production and increase sales. It's spread across more people, and as a result, you can be more profitable. How to scale down expenses? So one, specialization of labor. You could have more integrated technology boosting production volume. So for example, I really want to hire a product manager to help me update the course every week, because right now I'm putting in so much time and energy updating my program every single week. So I want to hire a full-time product manager to do that for me. Two, lowering the unit cost from bulk order purchases. So when I go ahead and say I work with ActiveCampaign, the cost per email decreases as I buy, like for example, I want to have 25,000 emails in my email list. The cost per email is much cheaper versus paying for only 1,000 emails. So another example is lowering marketing costs from larger advertising buys, such as paying like a few $1,000s for an influencer. You're buying attention in bulk and it's much cheaper. Next, spreading internal function costs across more units produced and sold. So for example, the cost of a customer service rep, accountant, software is spread across more customers. Next, there's two different things. One, internal economy of scales, and external. So let's start with internal. So internal economies of scale happens when a company cuts its costs internally, lowering their costs and raising their production levels. Because they can buy resources in bulk, they could spread the cost of the pattern, they could implement and buy new special technology, and they can do all these things because they have access to more capital. That's how the rich get richer, and that's how companies just keep growing exponentially, because they have more capital to reinvest into things that allow them to continue lowering the cost and increasing profit margins. And that's why Tesla is so successful. Elon Musk is constantly trying to drive down the costs, and then not only does he increase his profit margin, but he reduces the cost of the car itself so that there's more purchasers. And it's a crazy flywheel effect. Next is external economy of scale. External economies of scale, on the other hand, are achieved because of external factors, or factors that affect the entire industry. So these occur when there's highly skilled labor pool, subsidies or tax reductions, lowering marketing CPMs, the market environment, anything that can cut down on costs to many companies in a specific industry. That's external economy of scales. So right now, for example, during COVID-19, there's less people advertising, and as a result, marketing is cheaper. And that's what you want to sort of capitalize on. Next, inputs of economy of scales. So one input is lowering input costs by bulk purchasing inventory. Next is costly inputs. Research and development, advertising, managerial expertise, skilled labor are expensive. However, there's a possibility to increase efficiency with such inputs that can lead to a decrease in average cost of production and average cost of sale. So you'll be able to get more sales at cheaper costs. So if a company can spread the costs of such inputs over and increase production units, economy of scales can be then realized. If fast food chains choose to spend more money on technology to eventually increase efficiency by lowering the average cost of a hamburger assembly line, it would also have to increase the number of hamburgers it produced a year in order to cover the increased technology expenditure. So yes, you could implement things and hire things such as better managers, buy new technology, but that cost would not be spread out unless you could increase the volume, and you have to be able to predict that increased volume is something that you can achieve. Next, specialized inputs. As the scale of production of a company increases, a company can employ the use of specialized labor and machinery, resulting in greater efficiency. This is because workers would be better qualified for a specific job and no longer be spending extra time to do work that's not within their specialization. So McDonald's is very good because they have a lot of young people doing one task. Whether it is you're on the fry station, you're grilling the patties, you're making the burgers, you just do one thing. For example, someone might specialize in only making French fries versus other roles such as making hamburgers or taking customer orders, as I just mentioned previously. And as a result, machinery such as the dedicated French fry maker would have a longer lifetime because it wouldn't be overly improperly used. Because if you have people that aren't specialized in making fries, they wouldn't be used it to its maximum efficiency, and as a result the product would, the machinery itself would have wear and tear because people are learning things, they're pressing wrong buttons, and the machine would last longer. So by having specialized people, those sectors would have just a much better experience and last longer. Another economy of scales is the production of a complex item such as a motor car. The production process involves many different complex stages. Therefore, to produce a car, you should split up the process and have workers specialize in producing a certain part. Example, a worker might become highly specialized in the design of a car, and another one be specialized in the testing of the car, etc. Specialization requires less training of workers and more efficient production process. However, if you have several different distinct production process, it is most efficient to have a large output. So specialization is very important. So in my team, I just want everyone to just focus on one thing, become very good at it. And if someone has multiple tasks, my goal is to just hire other people to take those 5 tasks and break them into 5 different employees for 5 different people. The downside is I might not have enough volume, and all these 5 people, they'll be paid for 8 hours of work, but they only have half an hour of work a day. That's the problem. So you need to be able to increase output to really utilize specialization. Next, techniques and organizational inputs. With larger scale of production, a company may also apply better organizational skills of its resources, such as a clear-cut chain of command, while improving its techniques for production and distribution. For example, behind-the-counter employees at a fast food chain may be organized accordingly to those taking in-house orders and those dedicated to drive-through customers. So as you get more employees, you can literally split them into certain sectors. For example, I could have a whole team just for my one-on-one program and a whole team just for my Learn Ecom program, and really scale things at the same time with more efficiency. Next is learning input. Similar to improved organization and technique with time, the learning process related to production, selling, distribution can result in improved efficiency. Practice makes perfect. So as your team just sticks with you over time, their skill, their knowledge just keeps increasing with time and things just get more efficient. Now, there are limits to economy of scales. For example, a restaurant kitchen is often used to illustrate how economy of scales are limited. More cooks in a small space can get into each other's way. This is something I learned in first year, so it's pretty cool to relearn it, and I'm able to relearn it and actually apply it to my business. And it's also crazy that I'm able to learn this for free when I had to pay like, $1,000 for the economy degree. So it's pretty crazy how I'm able to just learn things off the internet, and how what I'm learning now, I probably have higher retention rate because it's relevant to what I'm doing right now. Whereas at the time when I was learning in uni, I would just learn it and I couldn't apply it. So there was a lower retention rate. But back to the topic, this is a U-shaped curve. And as you can see at the beginning, from Q to Q2, the average cost per unit falls. Then from Q2 onwards, it rises. So the cost rising as the production volume grows is termed diseconomy of scales. Let's sort of explain how this works. Let's say you get 80 emails per day. One customer service rep can answer 50 emails per day, and two customer service reps can answer 100 emails per day. But since the company only gets 80 emails per day, by hiring two customer service reps, the company will be 60% more efficient because we'll be able to answer 60% more emails, because technically it should be 100%, but we just don't have enough volume. So it's only 60% more efficient having two customer service reps. But it is 100% more expensive when it comes to the customer service rep cost. See how we're trading 100% increase in customer service rep costs for only 60% extra in efficiency? As a business gets bigger, the balance of power between demand and supply can become weaker, thus putting the company out of touch with the needs of their customer. Also, there's a growing concern that competition could virtually disappear as large companies begin to integrate. As a result, monopolies could emerge with the sole focus of making profit instead of being customer-centric. So, as you grow bigger, people forget the initial goal of helping. For example, my goal is helping students escape their 9-to-5 and be able to change their lives through making an online income. As I grow, I need to focus on keeping that startup mindset, because when you grow, that tends to be faded out, and as a result, costs increase, you spend more on marketing, this and that, and you then get into the diseconomy of scale. So yeah, I really enjoyed putting together this video in PowerPoint for you guys. If you guys want these slides, they're completely for free. The resources below, so be sure to get them. Other than that, let's go ahead and announce last video's winners for $1,000 worth of courses or consulting courses with me. The winners here. If you guys want to qualify, all you have to do is drop a comment below, follow me on Instagram, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'll be picking the best comment every single video. Other than that, question of the day: did you understand anything I said? Was I able to lay it out in a way that it was easy for you guys to understand? Was my editor able to edit this in a way where he gave you guys enough visual cues to make it easier for you to understand? I want to hear your feedback. Drop it in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow with more value. Peace.